All right, guys, I don't know what to say. I guess nobody's allowed to have a weekend anymore. Everybody just cancel all your plans until the election because it just seems, I can't look at my phone anymore. It's explosion. Something's happening. It is unbelievable. This political cycle has been unbelievable. When I say unbelievable, I mean you should not believe it. The things that are happening right now, they're like, oh my, Biden dropped out. And yeah, that's a really big announcement, but also there's a little piece of you that knows that all of this is a little fake and gay, right? Like we know that we are not being told the truth. We've been talking about his mental faculties for 4 years now. And the Democrats now, oh, we saw the debate performance and now we realize it's performative. We're going to cover what's happened and then we're going to talk about what's actually happened and then what will happen, what people think is going to happen, and what's going on, of course, behind the scenes because there are people that are maneuvering all of this, which we have been covering on the show, again, extensively for a very long time. So yes, Biden made a statement. He tweeted this. And by he tweeted this, I mean somebody else tweeted this. Obviously, Biden has not been with us. He has not been conscious for 4 years. Okay, so he's not writing any of this. They used to call it a gaffe. Another Biden gaffe. That's so funny. Oh, he's just so cute. Isn't it so likable? He's eating ice cream. He's a lost grandpa. It's a gaffe. Nope. It's a senior citizen who has been on the mental decline. It's why we have said that Jill Biden, his doctor wife, non-doctor wife, is arguably the most hideous first lady to have ever existed in American politics. I actually believe that. And I would say the world, but Brigitte Macron is still a thing, and that is also not a lady. But let's get into Biden's statement. Tweeted this. My fellow Democrats, I have decided not to accept the nomination and to focus all my energies on my duties as president for the remainder of my term. LOL. My very first decision as the party nominee in 2020 was to pick Kamala Harris as my vice president, and it's been the best decision I've made. Today, I want to offer my full support and endorsement for Kamala to be the nominee of our party this year. Democrats, it's time to come together and beat Trump. Let's do this. Thanks, intern. Appreciate her pull that together. Then, of course, he attached this letter to it. Over the past 3.5 years, we have made great progress as a nation. He goes on to say that America has the strongest economy in the world. I don't know where he's living. We've made historic investments. We've lowered prescription drug costs for seniors and in expanding affordable health care to a record number of Americans. We've provided critically needed care to 1 million veterans exposed to toxic substances, passed the first gun safety law in 30 years. Yeah, we don't want, like, we understand our government is a threat. Like, being excited about the fact that we're coming after your guns doesn't make me feel particularly good. We've appointed the first African-American woman to the Supreme Court. Yay! And she doesn't even know what a woman is. And passed the most significant climate legislation in the history of the world, also known as we're stealing your tax dollars and convincing you that we can impact the planet. He was on to write, America has never been better positioned to lead than we are today. And what he means is we're going to need a world war real quick because things are getting real bad. And so we need a reset button. And what better way to reset than war with Iran and Russia, both if we're lucky. Second paragraph reads, I know none of this could have been done without you, the American people. Together, we overcame a once-in-a-century pandemic, which was created by us, the government. I might be adding a little bit of lib here. I'm not reading it verbatim per se. I'm reading it as we're all reading it together. And the worst economic crisis since the Great Depression, which we likely caused too. We've protected and preserved our democracy by continuing to make people believe that there is a democracy. Some people are deluded and are still buying into this illusion. And we've revitalized and strengthened our alliances around the world, meaning we are running a money laundering operation in Ukraine. And don't you dare ask a question about Israel or you're an anti-Semite. He writes, it has been the greatest honor of my life to serve as your president. That could be true because he won't remember it. And while it has been my intention to seek re-election, I believe it is in the best interest of my party and the country for me to stand down and to focus solely on fulfilling my duties as president for the remainder of my term, which is his nice way of saying the CIA says step aside. Cool. I will speak to the nation later this week. We're working on doses to see how much adrenaline they can get into my butt at once so I can get through a speech. And there will be more detail about my decision, the CIA's decision. For now, let me express my deepest gratitude to all those who have worked so hard to see me reelected. I want to thank Vice President Kamala Harris, who I secretly hate, and she hates me too, for being an extraordinary partner in all this work. And let me express my heartfelt appreciation to the American people for the faith and trust you have placed in me. I believe today what I always have, that there is nothing America can't do when we do it together, which is when the deep state makes decisions and we force you to go along with it. We just have to remember we are the United States of America, currently being occupied by a hostile party in charge. Yeah, I added a little bit, but that I would say is pretty close to verbatim of the statement that he sent out. And here is what I already really hate about this speech, just right off the bat. And I know that so many of you guys can absolutely relate to this. It's just the fact that we are watching a play. We're watching actually House of Cards. I don't remember what season it was, but I'm pretty sure this happened during House of Cards, where a contested convention. And we all knew this was coming, again, like I said, back in 2020. And I hate that there are actually people, and I say this with love in my heart, who are watching this as Democrats and going, wow, he did the right thing. Wow, what a brave man. He is just, as soon as he realized that he was not in the best shape mentally, he made a sacrifice and he stepped down and he did the right thing. And that is why I am a Democrat today. Like, somewhere in America, that is going down right now. They're having that conversation. Democrat friends are texting. People are that deluded. So back in 2020, when we said, obviously, these aren't gaffes, Biden does not have mental faculties about him, we were called mean. We were bullying a senior citizen. We were those angry maggots, as they were calling us, which became a word like maggots that were referred to as for people that supported MAGA. And we were calling this out, and the media instead used COVID to hide him, to make it so that he never had to give any interviews. And people believed that what we were saying was a conspiracy, that clearly there's something wrong with Joe Biden. How could you guys not see this? How could you buy the idea that these are all gaffes? I mean, early on in his campaign, he was getting lost on stage. Obama was walking him off stage, guiding him. They would not let him go anywhere, and still they elected him. Like, what does that actually tell you? And of course, they're not voting for Biden. In 2020, we're not voting for Biden. They're voting against Trump because they just hate him so much that they would rather invest in puppetry. They would rather go, I actually don't care who's pulling the strings. I just want to make sure that I don't ever have to look at Trump at all. Like pretending that things were bad under Trump. And so what annoys me about this is that there are people that are going to pretend that this is natural, that they all just at once saw this happening, and right after the debate, they all made the decision to do the right thing. Where in reality, the decision was made before the debate to get rid of Biden. They signed up for the debate because they had made the decision to get rid of him. And as I have said to you guys, this is all now just a performance. It's a performance. Notoriously, by the way, George Clooney, the actor, remember he did the New York Times op-ed, calling for him to step down after the debate performance. And then in that op-ed, he lists this personal experience that he had at a fundraiser. He said, this is just not the Joe Biden that I know, and I realized that he's in decline. Oh, you realized he was in mental decline? Why did you wait until after the debate to write this op-ed? Because you're literally an actor. You're a state actor. Your job is to do the bidding for the shadow government that is executing things to get behind the candidates they tell you to get behind, when exactly they tell you to get behind them. They all knew. Every person in the White House, the vice president, his wife, his children, everybody knew that Joe Biden has been in steep mental decline since before he even announced that he was running. He was just installed in 2020, quite literally just installed. But let's get into some of these fake responses from his fellow Democrats, everyone that's in the club, the craziest Democrats who are a part of that system of power, who lie, they do the bidding of the state. Governor Whitmer, who quite literally cannot move her face. There is just so much inside of her. Like, she looks terrifying. She's terrifying to look at, and we saw how terrifying she is as an individual during COVID, when she just took so much power and, of course, was involved in a plot, the FBI trying to get people to plan her kidnapping so that they could get Trump supporters. Well, she tweeted this: President Biden is a great public servant who knows better than anyone what it takes to defeat Donald Trump. His remarkable work to lower prescription drug costs, fix the damn roads, bring supply chains home, address climate change, and ensure America's global leadership. Like, what is she talking about? Show of hands right now in America if you're like, well, the one thing I remember about the Biden presidency is that he really fixed the damn roads. Who's writing this stuff? Pete Buttigieg, not one to be left behind, wrote this: Joe Biden has earned his place among the best and most consequential presidents in American history. Consequential, all right. best presidents, I need to meet the person. I need to meet the Democrat voter who's looking at this going, yes, Joe Biden is the best president of my lifetime because he fixed the damn roads. I want to meet you. I want you to reach out to me. info@CandaceOwens.com. Tell me your story. I got to get you on because I need to just observe you. Genuinely just observe you. Pete Buttigieg concludes with, I am so proud to serve under his leadership and thankful for his unwavering focus on what is best for our country. Now, of course, the Biden family is going to have to make a statement, and I'll let you know if Jill Biden says something amazing about her toddler, because that's what this became in the end. You did so good. You went potty all by yourself. That is how she was speaking to and about her husband publicly toward the end. Well, Naomi, his daughter, Naomi Biden, writes, I'm nothing but proud today of my pop, our president, Joe Biden, who has served our country with every bit of his soul and with unmatched distinction. Not only has he been and will continue to be the most effective president of our lifetime, but he has likely already cemented himself as the most effective and impactful public servant in our nation's history. He has been at the center of and had a material impact on literally every single major issue that our country and world has faced for 50 years. Our world is better today in so many ways thanks to him, to the Americans who have always had his back. Keep the faith. He will always have ours. And yes, keep the faith, says the Catholic family, that if they could terminate children in the womb at 9 months, they would. Keep the faith. I'm just wondering, which faith exactly are they wanting us to keep? Theirs? And by the way, I got to know, where's Barack Obama right now? He's got to be reading this and just going, excuse me? At least the man, Barack Obama, could speak, right? You got to give it to him. He was a great orator, one of the greatest orators, I think, in presidential history. He could sell salt to a slug. You know, he was lying to your face, but boy, did Barack Obama make you feel good. You almost believed that he had a peaceful presidency. You didn't even know that he dropped more bombs in the Middle East than any president ever in the history of the United States, because he was able to just sound cool. So he's got to be reading this, the most effective president, the best president we've ever had, 50 years, and just going, You guys let me know if we get any statements from Barack Obama, because this is just, it is insulting to him. It is very insulting to Barack Obama. They are just doing way too much right here. And of course, the only person who is telling the truth about his presidency is Donald Trump. He gave a response instantly to CNN. He said this, he is the worst president in the history of our country. He goes down as the single worst president by far in the history of our country.
Obama tweeted.
Oh, Obama has tweeted. If you don't mind. Here we go. Here's Barack Obama has tweeted this. Joe Biden has been one of Americans' most consequential presidents. Hey, I agree with that. There will be consequences for the Joe Biden presidency. As well as a dear friend and partner to me, today we've also been reminded again that he's a patriot of the highest order. Here's my full statement. I love that because I don't feel he really lied in that tweet. He did the thing where he kind of gave us a nice feeling sentence, but didn't really actually say he was a good president, but he's a consequential one. And we can agree on that, Barack Obama. I'm not going to read your entire statement because you do tend to get a little long-winded, but you should be incredibly offended having looked at all of that. So, of course, the big question now is what is going to happen? All right, guys. So what happens now? That's the question. As I said, this is just House of Cards, and we're just barreling toward an open convention. Now, you might read people say, well, Democrats have always had an open convention. Here's how it works. Obviously, he was the presumptive nominee. He had enough delegates, and it was basically just going to be, here you are. Yes, we've already pledged our delegates to you, but to make it official, we are going to do this at the Democratic National Convention. That was and is still slated to take place August 19th through to August 22nd in Chicago. And as I said, because he had secured the necessary pledged delegates, he was just going to be formally elected. It was accepted. He was going to be the nominee. But now all of those delegates will get an opportunity to cast their ballots in an open convention for whichever candidate they want. They actually can just say, okay, well, I was with Biden, but I don't know about Kamala. I don't really like Kamala. By the way, as she says, these streets are talking. Girl, these streets are talking. And people just don't like Kamala across the board. could say that Democrats are not fond of her. Black America is not fond of her. There's something about her that just comes across as extremely condescending and patronizing. And it is a well-known thing that her and Biden's teams could not stand each other.